The kingdom of Pomoriel? Pomoriel?
Could be anything at this point. I tried saying it about 3 different times or pronouncing it differently, and I was like, nothing sounds right.
Pomoriel. Pomoriel.
Pomoriel?
Pomoriel.
Pomoriel. Yeah.
Pomoriel.
That's not very kingdom-esque.
I'm Cheska.
And I'm Thamy, and welcome back to
Don't Tell the Boys, a podcast where 2 long-distance besties read smutty books and talk about them.
We're reading fantasy, we're reading romance, we're finding our book boyfriends, and crucially, we're not telling our boys about it.
Boys are welcome.
Just not ours.
Not ours. So welcome back. We've read the first 5 chapters of this book now.
Oh my God.
We were going to do 10. And then we realised immediately that wasn't going to work.
Yeah, I felt like it ended, the first 5 chapters ended right at the right moment for us to come back and sort of regroup.
Yeah, and also I realised pretty quickly that I just had a lot on and I wasn't going to get through the first 10 at all and have all my notes.
Yeah, we're busy gals, you know, we're busy gals. What can we do? Episode 1, chapter 1 to 5, our official first episode. I need to know your first impressions. Just like, first chapter, first impressions, what did you think?
Well, obviously anyone listening should have guessed this by now, but there are going to be spoilers beyond this point because I'm about to start on those. Oh. There will also be strong language and adult content. So you've been warned. I swear a lot. And obviously there's adult content in the book, so we'll be discussing that too.
Oh yeah, that's
my first
most exciting part. Of course we'll be discussing that.
We'll be drawing sketches.
Oh my God, imagine. Here's the diagram I drew.
Yeah, how does this position work? Well, I made a diagram. One of 3 ways. My first thoughts were, I thought that the first chapter of A Court of Thorns and Roses was stronger.
What? Stop it.
Bear with me.
Now.
By the end of the first 5 chapters, I absolutely loved this book already. I think I'm going to really enjoy it. I just thought that A Court of Thorns and Roses had a really powerful entering chapter. It was very tense, dropped you right in, but you knew precisely where you were. It was short and sweet. And by the end of it, you were already invested. And with this one, I mean, I think first chapters are really hard. And there's a lot of setting to build in this. And it felt like our author was doing that right from the start. So by the end of the first 5 chapters, I would say I am confused but invested.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way. 2 words I would describe my journey so far.
What did you think after the first chapter?
I agree with you in terms of there was a lot of information, but I thought because it's different. It's very different from Akata and very different from like any of the other books that I'm reading. I was like so into it. I was like, yes, let's go. She's like the general's daughter. It's kicking off. She's starting school. Her backpack is huge. She can't carry it. And yeah, she might die. Like, I'm so ready for this ride. I disagree with you in terms of it being A Court of Thorns and Roses being better than this. Or at least the first chapter, like...
Just the first chapter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not making any of my judgments just yet. I'll do a run through of the plot.
Yeah, go on.
So, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And this goes for all of you listening as well. Especially if we pronounce something wrong, please correct us because we are just making it up as we go.
Oh my God, yeah, because the names, that I'll get to that later on. Go on.
Okay, so the story is based in the war-torn region of Navarra. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
Where everyone sounds like they're living in a Bratz movie version of World of Warcraft.
I love that. Yeah.
Violet Sorrengail. First name Bratz, last name World of Warcraft. And that's a pattern as well.
Yeah.
I feel like We've got a Dylan, which I think is literally the name of one of the characters from the Brats as well.
I love it. Yep.
I was into it. So Violet comes from a famous family at the head of the military, but she's just a book girly. So they're all heroes, but she just wants to chill out.
She just
with her books in the library.
A good library, yeah. Like Violet is one of us.
She's soft and not very strong, and she's got lovely little curves, and she's not got any muscles, and she just wants to read her books and ogle some men. That's very relatable by design, I'm sure.
So true.
Violet's mum is a general and is forcing her to apply as a dragon rider despite only 6 months of training for some reason. I think we're going to have conversations about Violet's mother and quality of parenting, but we'll get to that in a minute. Her sister Mira does not think she will survive. My first question at this point is, does her mum think she'll survive?
I think her mum knows how smart she actually is, and her mum, being the general, definitely knows that it takes a lot more than being physically strong to become a dragon rider. Another point to pass school. Like, is it like the university equivalent, but instead of graduating with
it's a military school, right?
Yeah,
it's a military school.
You get a dragon at the end, maybe, if it likes you back.
Basically, it's like the fantasy version of being in the Navy SEALs.
See, I kept comparing it to like Harry Potter, but with dragons. I mean, I know that. Did Harry Potter have dragons?
Yeah, it did, but not
like this. Yeah.
Not like this.
Anyway, I did get the vibe that her mum knew how strong, like, mentally she is. She's a smart girl. And we see that between chapter 1 to 5.
Yeah, so I got the impression that her mum knows something we don't. Because on the face of this, based on what we know so far, we're very much from Mira's perspective here, going, this is shocking parenting. You let her decide to be a scribe all her life, and now 6 months ago, suddenly, you've decided, no, you're gonna enter the hardest faction of the military with, quite frankly, a huge disadvantage. And you're just like, yeah, you'll be fine or you'll die. Go on then, off you go.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and only because one of my theories is related to her mum knows something that we don't.
Oh, okay. We'll get back to that then.
Yeah.
Mira and the general / Violet's mother fight about Violet's brother, who's dead, and their father, who is also dead. And the father died 1 year ago, and apparently the general changed from that point forward and got tougher. So that's kind of all we know. Mira takes Violet to conscription, and from there she faces her first trial, which is walking the parapet. What the fuck is a parapet?
Honestly, I did have to Google it because I was worried that I was pronouncing it wrong, but also my understanding is that it's like a wall, like, yeah, it's a big wall.
Okay, because
I imagine.
I'll be honest, it's, for me, this was a little bit like Nesta struggling to go down all those stairs. I was a bit like, what's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, it was wet and windy. That was the main issue. And she had slippery shoes. Imagine a castle. Let me take you on this like journey with me. Imagine a castle with like 2 towers on either side, right?
Yeah.
And then this like really thin and narrow wall in between both towers.
I was imagining this to be like kind of like a walkway, but I was imagining it to be like 3 to 4 foot wide. So maybe that's not the case. I think maybe I'm wrong about that. I think I'm imagining it wrong, because if it was really narrow and really high up, then yeah, that makes a lot more sense. All right, cut that out in post. Or pretend I knew what it was all along. Sounds really difficult.
Yeah, it definitely does. Imagine though, like, I struggle walking down the road if there's a storm.
I kind of felt like this was the test of good footwear and not the test of balance.
Yeah. What did you think about her sister, like, prepping her beforehand? Did you think that it was cheating?
Yes, I did. What a nepo baby.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. Because, like, 100% obviously utilize it to your advantage, but your sister has literally got you fully protected and ready because she knows and she's been through it. That's not fair.
No. And there have been multiple occasions throughout the first 5 chapters when I've thought, nepo baby.
Yeah, 100%. She would have died by now.
So, on the way across said parapet, or up to it, we meet 3.5 new characters. We get Rhiannon Matthias, Dylan, it's Xaden Riorson introduction, and we also get an unnamed Saki character.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to read a little bit of the introduction to Xaden, because I think...
Oh my god, go on.
I think this is important. It was a really long highlight.
Yeah.
Gratuitous.
Yeah, I've got it.
Hey.
Have you got it?
He's tall, with windblown black hair and dark brows. The line of his jaw is strong and covered with warm, tawny skin and dark stubble. And when he folds his arms across his torso, the muscles in his chest and arms ripple, moving in a way that makes me swallow. And his eyes are the shade of gold-flecked onyx. The contrast is startling, jaw-dropping even. Everything about him is. His features are so harsh that they look carved, and yet they are astonishingly perfect. Like an artist worked a lifetime sculpting him, and at least a year of that was spent on his mouth.
Whew.
It goes on, but I won't, because it keeps going. Except to say, after that, it says, he's the most exquisite man I've ever seen.
What a line. Like, when I was reading that, I was like, oh, like physically reacting as I was reading it. I was shocked and so excited. Oh, yeah.
How excited?
Not that, well, it was exciting, but obviously we know by this point when she supposedly sees Xaden but doesn't realize it's Xaden, that her sister told her to stay away from him.
Mm-hmm. Xaden wants her dead, and he doesn't even know her yet, but Xaden's dad was leader of a rebellion. His dad was executed for his crimes, and Xaden was forced into the Riders' Quarter along with all of the children of people who were killed after the rebellion. So Xaden hates Violet's guts.
So you can imagine how that introduction went, or when he realized that it was her.
Yeah, the chapter ends with Dylan's death. R.I.P. Dylan.
Rip.
He falls off the parapet. Yeah.
That was me. So relatable, staying Dylan.
He was so confident as well going in. He's like, this is my dream. This is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah, wait, I wanted to add that as a quick note because I thought it was adorable that he had like a little promise ring in his heart. And I was like, I have so much faith for you, Dylan. And then he dies. And I was like, oh, never mind.
So you didn't see it coming?
No. I knew something was going to happen to either him or Rhiannon. But at that point, because we got given the information that he literally had somebody waiting for him, I was like, oh, that's cute. And it just made me realize with Rebecca Yarrow's writing, don't get attached.
So I didn't guess that he was going to die. Like you, I kind of thought one of them was going to.
Yeah.
I did notice he didn't have a surname. We get Rhiannon's right away. She introduces herself as Rhiannon Matthias. Or Matthias. Yeah. Dylan was just like, I'm Dylan. And I thought in my head, that's going to be really significant. He doesn't have a surname. Either he's going to be like the Redcoats, where they just get killed off straight away, or his surname is going to be of serious significance. And
it was just
unfortunately for Dylan,
it just wasn't significant at all.
No. Trad. Poor Dylan. R.I.P. From there, Xaden says that he's happy to watch Violet go the same way. And that's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2,
Mm-hmm.
Violet and Rhiannon both make it across. It's a very short chapter. It's very good. Although the Saki voice, finally named as Jack Barlow, murders the cadet behind him and then tries to murder Violet as well.
I'm not a fan of Jack, but I understand. I definitely feel like he's intimidated by the fact that her mum is a general. Her sister is obviously like well known. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely thought that was like some sort of jealousy, maybe. But yeah, he really annoyed me in that chapter. And also, I thought it was really tense. Like, I really thought it was tense. Come on.
Yeah, so to me, that was like the first chapter of Akatar. I was like, this is the same level of tension, short, like you're immediately dropped in it and invested.
Right. Yeah.
I was away. So she gets past that. She's good. Chapter 3. Jack vows to kill Violet. Violet finds Dain, who is another new character, who helps her hide her injuries. Dain, the rekindled flame.
I am so team Dain right now. And like I don't think it's like rekindled. I think at this point she's obviously like they grew up together. There's obviously feelings there. And I just don't think she's ever wanted to explore it. And I do feel like there's a brother and sister sort of vibe from his side.
Oh, you don't think he was interested prior?
I don't know. I just don't think. I thought, I don't know if it's because I could relate. She flirts exactly the way that I flirt, which I thought was so funny. So I loved the scene where she's getting her knees wrapped, where he's like wrapping her knee. I was like, we are exactly the same. Like the flirty comments, I was like, oh, I love you. But also, I made this mistake with Akatar, okay? I was a very big Tamlin fan when I started. Yeah, I know. And then obviously when Rhys appeared, I was like, whoa, I was wrong, okay? Right now, I'm a big Dain fan. Like, big Dain fan. And I think it is because they've known each other longer. They have that past. And the flirty banter's there. But then I love the, like, older guy who's in power sort of vibe. Like, I really got that dynamic. Liking the episode? Let us know how we're doing in the comments below. But please, no spoilers. And don't forget, you can find us at don'ttell_theboys on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube. We're all over the place. Make sure to follow us to stay updated with your new book besties.
Do you think Dane's doing a good job of protecting Violet so far?
No, not at all.
No.
Absolutely not. But
Shoddy work.
But Violet knew that he wasn't going to be able to protect her.
But he could try a bit harder, couldn't he?
Yeah, but why would he then put his job on the line? Like his life on the line for her.
I'm being a bit harsh. I think I'm being a bit harsh. I'm a bit annoyed with specific actions of his that happen the next couple of chapters. To be fair, up to this point, I say he's done fine.
Yeah, at that point, like he's trying. What I didn't like was him trying to get her to leave.
Dain doesn't think she can do this either, and he is very, very keen that she hides her injuries and does not let anyone know that she's injured. And it's felt a little bit Squid Game up until this point. Like Jack Barlow in particular is very Squid Game, but it feels like a bit more than that. Like everyone's going to get injured doing this job. Why are Violet's injuries such an issue, and why were her sisters making a big deal out of them and her mum making a big deal out of them? Like, it feels like Violet's injuries are different. So maybe now's a good time to talk about why she's hiding hers.
I think it's a definitely thing of like, don't show anybody your weaknesses. She bruises like a peach. That's the vibe that I got from her.
Yeah, but so do I. And I don't think I'll be riding a dragon 6 months from now if I just tried.
Yeah.
For me, it seems like there's something a little bit more to this. Like, it feels like Violet's kind of what's referred to as her fragility is a little bit more. And we're just not being told the whole story. I highlighted the quote, Mira, Violet deals with more pain before lunch than you do in an entire week. If any of my children is capable of surviving the Rider's Quadrant, it's her. I think she's got some kind of chronic condition that people are dancing around, and I can't work out whether I think it's hemophilia, because to be fair, she hasn't bled yet, or whether it's brittle bone disease, where her bones just break like that.
Yeah.
We learned that being seen as a liability in the Rider's Quadrant will just mean that other cadets will just kill you, because they're like, you're useless. We don't want to be relying on you, and you're going to be the weak link, so fuck off. Do one.
Yeah.
But so it feels like it's more to me.
Yeah, it definitely feels more serious.
Dain helps her hide her injuries and basically says, don't tell anyone you've got an injury. They're sorted into their squads, or wings as they're called in here, and she's sorted into 4th wing. So that solves the first mystery of the book.
Yeah.
Xaden deliberately reshuffles things so that she reports to him, but she remains in Dain's squad. We learn that dragons need humans to protect the valley, and bonded humans' lives are tied to their dragons, but this is one way. So if a human dies, the dragon's fine. It's a bit like, oh shit, but it's fine.
Yeah.
If the dragon dies, the human dies. Chapter 4 is also very short. Xaden finds out about Violet and Dain's relationship. That's all I've put for that.
Yeah. That scene on the top of the stairs. That's, I don't know why, but that's how I imagine, like, a sort of, they come out from under a set of stairs, and like from a shadow, a dark corner of the room, and then Xaden appears and is like, gotcha moment. I was freaking out, not gonna lie. I was like, oh, like she's about to go into battle with him for the first time very early on.
Yeah, I was like, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
So this is why I said I was annoyed at Dain, because what were they even talking about? Like, there was no point in that conversation. They were just having a little secret rendezvous.
I think it was him just being like, you need to leave. We need to get you out of here again. Oh, it was because he was warning her that they had combat training next. And
she already knew that, because they told him that.
Yeah, that conversation was completely pointless. And this is where I feel like his feelings might get her in trouble.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'll get him in trouble too, 100%.
Yeah. So she just fucking legs it, as she would.
Same. Yeah.
We get, basically, last chapter, chapter 5, we get a history lesson and an update on the situation, on the war. Basically, the kingdom of Pomoriel?
Could be anything at this point. I tried saying it about 3 different times or pronouncing it differently, and I was like, nothing sounds right.
Pomoriel.
Yeah.
Pomoriel.
That's not very kingdom-esque. Yeah.
No. So please, somebody just put us out of our miseries.
Yeah.
Also, I'm no good with the phonetic alphabet, so just do your best.
We need to get people to like send or copy at us in your pronunciation videos of like these names.
Yes, please. Basically, Pomoriel and its Griffin Riders seem to be finding a way through these kingdom wards that people have set up. It seems as though they might be looking for something. Violet enters the sparring ring and gets her arm broken, and Jack kills another cadet.
What's he playing at? Like, it's very Squid Game-esque. Like, he's just trying to get rid of numbers at this point, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And actually, I think that's quite interesting because when we were first introduced to kind of his bloodlust, you think, you know, maybe we'll get more depth to this character. He's obviously broken the number one rule of this podcast, which is don't be a dick, but maybe he's got a bit more depth. By the end of... You're right, babe.
Sorry.
By the end of chapter 5, I'm just thinking full-on psycho. Just complete psychopath.
Yeah, he's definitely taking out the competition. And I think it's the small dick energy. Like, it's giving small dick energy. Like, I am gonna kill a bunch of people, hope, because he still doesn't know if a dragon is gonna bond with him anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, what, like, why?
Yeah.
So sorry.
Why?
Oh my god. Excuse me.
It just feels like he's doing this because he gets off on it to me. Like, he enjoys it.
Oh my god. I didn't think of that, actually.
Violet was ahead of him. Like, he could have caught up with her and got rid of her to try and get himself across faster. The guy behind him was irrelevant. He stopped. He turned around. He waited for the guy behind him to catch up. He picked him up and he threw him off. There was no need.
He saw an opportunity and fully took it, to be fair.
He leant all the way in.
I don't know, though. I know it's not exactly the moral thing to do, but Mira says don't become friends with anybody and basically use your relationship as...
She said form alliances.
Yeah, form alliances. Yeah. And I feel like Jack obviously wasn't told that by anybody. And I do think it is a sort of like, I am going to get rid of them because they will stand in my way.
This is why I think Jack poses quite the danger, because I actually think he's not going to struggle to form alliances at all. There's always somebody like this.
Yeah.
In life. In these shows, in Squid Game, even, the person who is the scariest is going to gain a little gang of loyal followers, and they're just going to try and be, you know, the strongest prisoners in the prison yard.
Yeah. If Jack does manage to succeed to get everybody on side with him, I think that's when she'll definitely be in danger. Is Jack
the child of rebels?
I don't know. So far, I don't think so. I just think he would make a very good leader.
I don't think he'd make a good leader. I just think it's like, you know, I just think that his idea of a good leader is definitely going to be the kind of person who just shouts the loudest and tells everybody what to do.
Yeah. Because, like, common enemy... If she becomes the common enemy, then,
yeah,
you know, but he's already made it obvious that he wants her gone.
Discussion time.
Go on.
Do we think we're the good guys? Because I don't.
Oh. Like, what? Get into it. What do you mean?
Let me make my case.
Yeah.
We don't really know why these kingdoms are at war. We haven't really gone to that yet. That's fine. I just think it's a bit weird that there was a rebellion.
Yeah.
Happy kingdoms don't usually have rebellions. We know this is a monarchy that is heavy on the military.
Yeah. Also, this war has been going on for like 500 years. Why?
We're talking about the kind of rebellion that executes all the parents and then forces the children into... like military enslavement, basically. That doesn't sound like something the good guys would do. Yeah. And secondly, how fucking stupid can you be? Are you really going to fill your army with people that hate your cause?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound smart, does it?
But surely the other option is death. So even if you like tried or even thought about rebelling, you know that you die. And we can see that by when the dragons start flapping in and somebody gets burnt. I feel like that is a sort of like, now that you're here, if you don't follow this through, you will die.
Well, this brings me to my next question, which is why are the wards failing? Because it seems to me like the Griffin Riders know where and when the walls are going to fade. We know that the Dragon Riders kind of got the warning in time as well, but it seems quite coordinated, and I think it's going to come down to treachery.
Yeah, I was literally going to say inside job. There is somebody in power who is not trustworthy. And I thought...
You've got thoughts already?
Well, we know that there is... I can't remember his name, but we know that there is a Dragon Rider man who the power of his dragon is to see fights happening. Conflict. Yeah. So I was like, well, if you know that it's going to happen. I understand that we get told that he doesn't know when it's happening, but I don't trust it.
But we're saying that he can't see battles coming. He can only see the outcome of them once they've started.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that he might be involved in some way. That's just my thought.
What? So you think it's the military top dog, not the guy who wants his job?
Oh, I forgot about him. Who wants Mira's, Violet's mum, their mum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't remember his name right now, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Maybe they're in cahoots. Maybe it's just like a bunch of... Maybe it's like men don't want to see a successful woman be on top.
Or maybe it's Violet's mother.
Oh my god, imagine. That would be a big plot twist.
Maybe that's why she's forcing her into the military, because she knows that if she gets caught out for treachery and she gets killed, Violet would just get forced into the military. So it's like, she's already there.
Get training now.
She's thinking like 6 chess moves ahead, this girl.
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Go on.
What do you think Xaden's first impressions of Violet were?
Ooh. I don't know, because we don't really get to see anything, do we? Like, we don't really get anything from him apart from he realizes that it's her, and he's basically like, just stares. Like, what are you staring at? And doesn't say anything. I feel like, obviously we don't really know because it's not like we're getting Xaden's POV, but the fact that he just stares at her, I'm not expecting like a Court of Thorns and Roses where all of a sudden they're mated and they're gonna marry and they're gonna be lovers for the rest of their lives kind of situation, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
But either he was like, holy shit, she's fit, or he's like, oh my god, her mum killed my dad, my parents, and I'm here because of her, kind of thing. Like anger, there's obviously anger anyway, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know about the like love at first sight thing. I mean, maybe he thought she was fit AF, but I thought Nepo baby, first of all.
Yeah.
She's got leathers on, nobody else does. She's clearly been given loads of help right from the get-go before she's even gone through the first trial. She's got nice boots on.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to say that he thinks that she's selfless, though, and quite naive, because he sees that she's swapped boots with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he clearly thinks that is very interesting.
Yeah. I was going to say, maybe he thought that she was going to be more like her mum in that instance. And obviously, she clearly is more caring than her mum. Or his sister. I feel like his character, we don't really know much about him.
I really want to know what Xaden's signet power is.
Yeah, because I feel like that will really set the pace in terms of like, is he gonna try and kill her? One question: I'm just going through my notes, right? How old are these characters meant to be?
Oh shit, I don't know. Definitely like late teens to mid 20s.
Right. I was thinking of Xaden as like an 18-year-old, to be honest. That's what I got.
He's a third year rider, right? So are we assuming that he went in at 15?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good shout. I don't know. University, so like 18, 19, 20, 21.
Oh, I was getting like mid 20s vibes from him, but then maybe I just do of anybody who's made it over 6 foot already.
I don't know. I kind of want that to be clarified at some point.
So do I.
So that I can actually picture these characters properly. Because at the minute, I'm just unsure. I need to talk about the abbreviation. Because I highlighted Sgaeyl. Initially, I read it as a sigil. But then I was like, is that what it is? Like, but I also didn't Google it.
Yeah, so Sgaeyl, that is the name of Xaden's dragon, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Sgaeyl? Gale?
So you read that as sigil.
Yeah.
I read it as Sgaeyl.
Oh.
Scale, like dragon scale.
But there's no... What?
I read that through 3 times. I did the same thing as I did for
Pomodoro. Primavera. Pomodoro cheese.
Pomoriel. I'm going to call it Pomoriel from now on. Yeah. I read it three times in 3 different ways. I sounded like Matt Berry. I was like, Sgaeyl. Sgaeyl. And then I finally went Sgaeyl.
Sgaeyl. I can imagine you reading that out loud. Yeah.
This is why it took me so long to read these chapters, because I actually had to read them all out loud.
Even Dain, like, I was like, Dain, like, the chocolate bar?
Like, you mean dime?
Like, down that route. Yeah, that was the inspiration for me trying to pronounce his name. The chocolate bar.
He's called Dime Aetos now.
Yeah. The other pronunciation, where I literally so Sgaeyl, I literally highlighted and noted what the fuck, and then and then I put pardon.
What the fuck? Pardon?
Yeah, like all my thoughts was just coming out. And then the second one, my notes is another what the fuck pronunciation, and it Breivik, Breivik,
Breivik. Could be Breivich, but I doubt it.
No, it's Vick, Breivik, like Vic.
Oh, we've got Sgaeyl. Sgaeyl.
Sgaeyl. And I only learned how to pronounce that because initially I was like, I am going to listen to chapter 1. Like, I'm going to use the audiobook to get me started. And then as soon as she started going on about Sgaeyl, and I was like, what the fuck is that? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to read it because at least I can not figure out, because as you can see, I'm very bad with pronunciations, but like I can just go with my flow and not have somebody else telling me how to pronounce things.
Welcome to Don't Tell the Boys Pronunciation Guide.
Yeah.
Where we say words and then you tell us what we did wrong.
And you teach us. That's so funny. Right, okay, my last point, and just because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. They walk into the training place. The guys are mostly shirtless because they think shirts give their opponents something to grab onto. Personally, I'm not arguing with their logic, just enjoying the view. Respectfully, of course. Which means keeping my eyes on my own squad's mat and off the other 20 mats in the massive gin. I just commented and highlighted that, and I was like, girl, same. If I was in a room with big, sweaty warriors fighting combat for the... I'm just looking at your reaction.
Sorry, I forgot to rearrange my face.
I was like, you know what? Again, and I think it is more because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, they're still like quite young, like they're in their like late teens, early 20s. She was definitely like, oh my god, all of these fit boys that like, I don't know, walking around with their muscles, and her just yeah, fanny flutters all around.
Violet's a little letch.
Yeah, I don't know, if that was me, I would also be having a great time.
Oh man, you and I are so different sometimes. Like I'd just be shitting myself. I would be like, crap, who can I actually beat here?
That thought would come after I stopped eyeing the men up. Like, let me assess the competition.
The world's most relatable Nepo baby.
Yeah.
So this reminded me of, you know, in Mulan, Disney movie, the whole movie is gold, but there's this moment where she's standing in the lineup, and Li Shang is like, he's trying to get them all in line, and she leans out to watch him, and he takes his shirt off, and she just goes,
yeah, exactly. Like that captures it perfectly.
She is Mulan. Like, she's not supposed to be here, and she's doing everything she can do to just hide it.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that bit. I just thought it was so funny. I did really enjoy chapter 1 to 5, but I did feel like it was very descriptive. Again, as any sort of like new book would be. But I'm actually quite excited to see what the gang get up to now.
Me too. I'm really excited. So I have 3 predictions, and I'm going all out with these. I'm going wild, and they're probably totally wrong, but I just think go big or go home.
Yeah.
So my first prediction is it's going to turn out that we are not the good guys. That is my first prediction.
Do you think that would be something that we find out in the first book?
I don't know. And I could, like, if it's true, I could not know that for a really long time. So next chapter, I could be like, oh yeah, I got that wrong. And then in book 2, I could be like, oh no, turns out I was right all the time. Ha!
Yeah, fair.
We'll see.
Yep.
My second prediction is that Violet has an incurable illness.
Yeah.
Possibly genetic, perhaps like haemophilia or brittle bone disease. And my last prediction, which I actually think is the wildest one, I think that Jack will be killed by Xaden for being a liability to the riders, because being a strong soldier doesn't just mean being big and strong and being able to balance well and having big muscles. It also means having a load of other qualities and being able to work as part of a team and take orders. And Jack has shown that he cannot be trusted by anyone, including the people that are supposed to be on his side. So I think that he will be killed for being a liability, and I think Xaden will do it.
Ooh, I like that. I definitely agree with you with the second one, which was
The incurable illness.
Yeah, the incurable. I agree, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah.
I'm the one drinking. You're drinking water.
I definitely think that Violet has something that will be quite impactful in her journey as a first year, and I feel like Violet has definitely got something that will be important in her journey. I also feel like I don't know what it could be. I agree with you. I definitely think she's got something serious, but I could not even give you an option. I think there's definitely somebody internally that is on the wrong side, or giving information, or informing.
You think it's a mole?
Yeah.
You think there's a mole, basically?
Definitely. I think those two for me right now are the most important one. Just to mention, obviously, the fact about Jack, the one that you mentioned about Jack. I also think that Xaden would be the one killing him, either Xaden or Xaden's dragon. But I think it will be because Violet is in danger and Xaden is protecting her.
Okay. Also, because I think this whole Violet Jack thing is quite important, because we know that Violet has an apparent weakness, and I agree with you. I think she's got hidden strengths as well. But I also think this is very much like a Captain America analogy. I think it's not about who's big and strong and this and that. I think it's about your potential, not about what you walk in with. Your potential to be, the best, to make a difference in this war. Violet is maybe demonstrating that she isn't starting in the same place as everybody else, but she has got what it takes to do this well.
So next episode, we will be reading from chapter 6 to 10.
6 to 10, yeah.
Including chapter 10.
Yeah, so I guess we'll find out pretty quickly if some of our predictions were correct or not.
Make sure you come back and listen to the next episode with us.
The only thing that we don't want from you, please, is spoilers. That's the only 2 rules of this podcast. Don't be a dick, and no spoilers. We are obviously allowed to spoil things. That's why you're here. And we warned you at the beginning, so there's that. But don't spoil anything for us. Yeah. We'd love to have you along for the ride. If you have read this book before, we'd love to hear, what you thought about our reactions to things. If you haven't read this book before, read along with us. We'd love that too. Join the fun. But please, no spoilers in the comments.
Please make sure that you are following us on social media, especially Threads, as I am live threading. So I read the book, and I have been posting some pretty reactive content on there, and just make sure you come and hang out with me.
Maybe I will live react to some of this at some point too.
Yes.
We will see, but we're trying to avoid each other as best as possible.
Yeah, it's really hard not to have any conversations before we sit down.
Oh, I missed you this week, man.
I know. Me too. I feel like, it's such a crucial part of our day to sit down and talk about books, and it's been really, really hard.
Yeah, picking up the phone to message you and then going, no, I can't, and then putting it back down.
I know. And it's really hard, because obviously I've wanted to talk to you about different things that I want to mention in the podcast, but I know what I'm like. I can't just give you a brief sentence. I will accidentally just get into it, and I'm like, no, just don't say anything, don't keep it to yourself. So yeah, it's been really difficult, but I'm glad that we managed to get through the first 5 chapters. We have reached the end of this episode. Make sure you join us next week for chapter 6 to chapter 10. But we would love to know your thoughts on this episode. Please rate our podcast after you've decided you like it. Don't forget you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and YouTube at don'ttell_the_boys. It's our little secret. So please, 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 please don't tell them.
Please don't tell them.
Please don't tell him. Join us as we read and react to Fourth Wing for the first time. Find out if I loved it, if Jessica hated it, who's hot, who's not. We'll also be doing other fun things like character rankings, fuck, marry, kill, would you rather, and answering your questions. Follow us across social media at don'ttell_the_boys. And finally, please rate our podcast after you decided you like it.